For some 30 years, I served in 4 different parishes. And once you've been in a church for a while as the priest, you get to know people. One of the things I found myself doing on some Sunday mornings was looking out over the people that I knew. And I had a sense of what was going on in their lives. There's a woman who's dealing with cancer. There's a couple with a lousy marriage. He's worried about his job. There's a girl who thinks that no one likes her. Fear. Fear everywhere. Fear that moves to anxiety and sometimes anguish. It is not just us individually, is it? When we look out over our country and our culture today, we see many, many examples of mendacity and corruption and neglect, racism, homophobia, fear, homeless people, all around. More and more people are telling me when they meet me, I don't watch the news or read the newspaper anymore because I can't stand it. Fear that moves to anxiety and sometimes anguish. And there's more. Have you noticed that the word Christian has become a dirty word in our culture? Have you noticed that it has become synonymous in some people's minds with hypocrisy, judgmentalism, anti-science, homophobic, anti-intellectual, narrow-minded, and rigid? Because of that, are you afraid to tell your friends that you're a follower of Jesus? Are you reluctant to wear a cross? Do you fear when you tell people about how you work out your commitment to Christ here and out in the community? In Helena, where I used to live, Helena, Montana, one Sunday morning I was in vestments walking around the cathedral church in the front door, and a carload of young men rode by, and they rolled down their windows and hurled at me every abuse you could think of. That's our culture. Fear, anxiety, anguish. And it's because of that we desperately need to hear what the writer of 1 Peter is saying in this morning's second lesson. One of the things he says briefly is, don't be surprised. He references the sufferings of Jesus, you remember. And in essence, he's saying if they did that to Jesus, the best man who ever lived, what do you think they might be doing to us? Do you think it'll be easy? Don't be surprised at the fiery ordeal. Then he goes on to say, cast your burdens, your anxieties on God. Now that word cast has several meanings to it, doesn't it? I used to do fly fishing, in Montana. You cast. That's not it. That's not it. It's when you hurl something, when you throw it. You remember gym class with medicine balls? I hated those things. You'd be hit by it, and I was always eager to get rid of that big dirty thing. I'd shove it off. That's casting, that's throwing, that's hurling. That's what we do with our anxieties, is give them to God. Because, the writer says, God cares for you. Caring. Now that means more than just feeling something for somebody. It means tending, protecting, taking care of. I'm sorry that I couldn't bring my dog with me this morning. She is the best dog in the Western Hemisphere. And she is with me almost every place I go. She's a little Cocker Spaniel named Gemma. And she is a gem. Now, I care for her. That means I like her. She delights me. But I also feed her. I give her baths. I give her shots for her allergies. I give her medicine. I take her to the vet. And I don't get out, I don't know what it's like around here, but where I live, you can't get out of the vet's office for less than $300. That's how much I care. My wife says it's a good thing you love her because she sure does cost. Caring. That's what God does. There are people out there who seem to think that when God acts in people's lives, that it's to punish or put down or make feel guilty. That's not it. Care. Finally, and maybe most importantly, the text says that the God of grace himself will restore, support, strengthen, and establish you. Now, one of the unique characteristics of Christianity, as far as I can tell, the only religion or philosophy that says that God rolls up God's sleeves and gets involved in history, in people's lives, in our stories, in the events of the church, and in the events of the lives of Christian people. And when God acts, it's to bless. It is to restore, establish, support, strengthen. That's what God does. So expect blessing. Now, how this enters into our individual lives is when we are baptized. Sometimes I get the feeling that people think that baptism is just a nice thing that we do for little kids. It's actually the most important event that can happen in a person's life. In baptism, in effect, God rips open the heavens, reaches down, and grabs each of us by name and makes us a part of the death and resurrection of Christ. We are joined to Jesus, unified, and made the living body of Christ. And we share in his story. That means when God acts in our lives, it's always going to be a movement from death to life, from error to truth, from sin to righteousness. That's the promise of baptism, that this God will, with God's own self, reach down to restore, bless, support, and strengthen us because we are one with Christ. Now, where is Father George? Where is it? Back here? Oh, okay, over there. Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to get a bulldozer and dig a big hole right out here in the plaza and fill it in and make it a baptismal font. And I think it ought to be big enough that you could baptize horses if you wanted to. No, I'm serious about this. Horses as members?
Yes, it's better than They don't play so
No, they don't. Oh, dear. Oh, I wish I could pursue that, but I won't. We lose some of the symbolism of baptism by the way we normally do it. Now, you have a font that you used to. Do you know where it is? Where is it? Where's the font? It's hidden. Father George, you hide it back there. It's behind the cross. You ought to have a great big baptismal pool. You had a fire hose to fill it up. And when people come to be baptized, you dip them deep into the water and then pull them out. You get it? Dying and rising. That's the symbolism of baptism. Dying and rising. I used to have a seminary professor that would say to us, now when you baptize people, hold them under the water until they turn blue. That's so that they'll know that it's a death experience, dying to self. You see, when we've been baptized, we've already died. If we were to explore the Gospel of John some more, that's clearly the view of the Gospel of John. Oh, you may die in a physical sense, but not really. We've already died in baptism. The worst that can happen has already happened. And we live in the new life of the resurrection. Now, later on this morning, we'll have a procession around the church, and I will be asperging you. Asperging. Let me just say, it won't be polite. Get ready. We have some people, young people here, who are going to be confirmed today. And this is a return to their baptism and to their baptismal vows. And you'll hear me ask them, do you renounce? Do you recommit yourself, your renunciation of evil? Yes. Do you recommit yourself to Jesus Christ? Yes, I do. And then, by the laying on of apostolic hands, they will be given strength. Word confirm means to strengthen. They will be given the strength of the Spirit of the risen Christ to jump in deeper to the end of the deep end of the baptismal pool. Baptism, the blessing of God, the God who wants our anxieties to be cast on God's self. The God who says, I will myself. Get it? I will myself restore, strengthen, support, and establish you. And you have the gold seal of baptism to know that that will happen. When I was Bishop of Montana, I tried to visit all the congregations every year. It's a much smaller diocese than Los Angeles, where the bishop really cannot get around to see everyone. That's part of the reason I'm here rather than Bishop Taylor. I'm helping him out. But I'd go around and see congregations, and it was a weekend event. I'd meet with the vestry on a Saturday afternoon and then take the priest and his or her family, if they had one, out to dinner. And then on Sunday morning, there was the Eucharist and confirmations and all the fun of a Sunday morning. Early on in one of the rounds of visitation, I visited a church, and I met with the vestry, and I asked them how they were. How are things going in this congregation? Oh, Bishop. Oh, Bishop. We don't think we can make it. We need more support from the diocese. We've had these awful priests. We're in decline. We don't know what to do. And then they proceeded to tell me stories about their previous priest, about all the things she had done to them, including, they claimed, that she had pried up all the hardwood floors in the church parish hall and taken them home. We talked for a while about what it meant to be a church that serves. A church that's not so inward looking, but a church that looks out to the community that needs Jesus, to the community that needs service and care, to the community that wants people who are Christians to be active, acting like Christians. Well, I went home feeling not very good. A year and a half later, I came back. We had the same meeting in the same spot, mostly the same vestry members. How are things going? What is resurrectional here? And they kind of looked at each other and they looked at their priest and they said, "Can we tell him? Can we tell him?" And she said, "Yes, go ahead and tell him." So someone whipped out a legal pad and said, "This is what this church is doing in this community, what we've decided to do." Down the page, page 2, dun, 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 dun. Page 3, dun, 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 dun. I said to myself, what has happened here? What has gone on? Answer: resurrection. The Lord had reached in and restored and strengthened and established them. So think today of baptism. Think today of the waters of baptism. When I was about 7 years old, my mother said to me, "You're going to learn to swim." And I said, "No, I'm not." And she and I had this discussion back and forth. And you see, I tested it out. When I took a bath, I noticed that I sank to the bottom of the tub. Well, the argument, of course, was won by her. And I can still remember to this day standing at the edge of the pool, looking down at all that water, thinking, I'm afraid this isn't going to work. And there was a young lifeguard out in the water saying, come on, it'll be fine, come on, I'll help you. So I jumped in. Do you know what? I float. Jump into the waters of baptism, and God will hold you up. So, come on in. The water's fine.